Bike Blogger here. It's still snowy. This is the next day now. Came out tonight after it kind of slowed down. It's not snowing so much anymore. I actually spent the whole day building a new front wheel on this bike. Nice and slow. So, yeah, I spent all day today wheel building. Pretty slushy, the snow. So yeah, I had actually bought all the tools and or I already had tools, but I bought the supplies to build up this front wheel months ago. I've been meaning to do it because the front wheel that came on this bike was laced to a an e-bike motor, but the rim was really chintzy. It was a really cheap rim. It did not have machined sidewalls, and it was overall just really chintzy. It was it had like the weld or the seam on the rim, if you know anything about bikes, was not done well. It wasn't even, and there was always like a thumping sound when I was braking. So if you ever noticed that in my previous videos, I'm sorry, but that's the reason why. Really cheap wheel. So yeah, I got a new wheel now. It's the same rim as my back rim. It's an Alex DH19, I think. I know the camera's probably getting all messy. I don't have any fenders on this bike. But yeah, I mean, this is working really well. I was surprised. It was the very first time I've ever built up a wheel from scratch, essentially, Picked out a rim, picked out the spokes, laced it myself, and then tensioned it, so that was interesting. I've replaced all the spokes on a rim before on my previous Diamondback Honjo comp bike. But this was my first time building a brand new wheel. It was just the front wheel though, so I'm not sure how important dish is, that is side to side relationship between the rim and the hub, but that kind of goes toward the tensioning, spoke tension sort of stuff. But lacing it, yeah, it was my very first time lacing it, and the way I did it was, well, I picked out my spokes using an online calculator. I'm just plowing through the snow. It's slushy, 35mm wide tires. I used an online spoke calculator to figure out the length I needed. I had someone cut the spokes for me. But I laced it using Sheldon Brown's guide online. Woo. Trying to get to the park, but the snowplow kind of stops right here, so it just dumped all the snow right here. Oh my gosh. So we've gotten about a total of a foot of snow. But it's melted almost right away because of it's been hovering around freezing or just above freezing. But it is nice and snowy outside, and not a lot of traffic. So I'm just kind of taking my time. Oh my gosh, that was deep. The water and that driveway is very deep. My whole left foot is submerged in the cold water there back there. Fortunately, it's not that cold outside, so I don't need to worry about frostbite necessarily. But my foot is cold now. My foot is cold. Oh, my butt is a little cold because I don't have any fenders on this bike. But I want to do this video for you guys and gals, so here we do it. Here we do it. So the bike path is totally not plowed. Sometimes they're nice about that and they will plow the bike path. But haven't gotten to it yet. Focusing on the roads. So yeah, this is actually a very pleasant ride because, hey, hang on a second. I got my 2B Sing light on here. Let me adjust, save the battery on that, turn on my 2C light. Go. Brighter light, I can see in the dark. Even though with the light bouncing off the snow, I don't really need it. Oh, that's a new sign. I don't usually go this way. But then again, everything kind of looks a little different in the snow. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Let's just make circles. I'm gonna go the way I was going. I'm just thinking. I'm just enjoying it out in the snow. It is actually snowing a little bit, but it's more of a sleet. This is very enjoyable for now. Got to be careful of bridges where there's a lot of wind and stuff freezes fast. But I'm saying this because I expect tomorrow there to be ice all over the roads. Even though there is salt on the road to try to prevent the freezing from happening of the water and the nasty stuff on the ground that's getting on my butt now. There's gonna be ice. There's gonna be ice out here starting tomorrow, and unfortunately, it's gonna be kind of off and on ice. I think the rest of winter here, unless it really warms up, and it might, because it looks like it might get up into the 40s Fahrenheit. So 40s Celsius would be pretty nice and toasty. But yeah, 40s Fahrenheit, so well above freezing, which is 32 Fahrenheit. So what really matters though is not the air temperature, but the ground temperature. If the ground is, if the surface of the ground, the temperature of the surface of the ground is below freezing, then anything that hits it's just gonna freeze. Ugh, turn to ice. So I've been thinking about, I don't actually have a pair of studded tires. I used to. I don't have them anymore though. That was at least a couple years ago. Studded tires last you a good long while, but when you ride them on dry, or if you ride them in conditions where you don't really need them, you can wear down the studs kind of quickly. So, but it's a hassle to constantly swap wheels or swap tires, so I just keep them on. Anyways, I'm not riding studded tires, and I'm not riding with fenders. But as you can tell, the roads are clear. So, but you get to see all the pretty snow. So that's the best of both worlds. I don't really need any special equipment for this. In my previous video, the snow was kind of deep, and that would have been a good use of a fat bike. Yeah, no need for a fat bike now. And that's why I don't have one, because you don't usually need one around where I live. You know, snow doesn't stay around for a long time. Whew. Alright. So yeah, it's very quiet. There's like nobody here. There was a car following me there for a little bit behind me, but he's gone now. What is the, oh my gosh, I think the lens is probably just covered in water. Hopefully this video is usable. We'll find out. It would definitely help to have a front fender for the camera. I ride in the rain quite a bit, and I do have rain videos of me riding in the rain, but I don't know, it's something probably about the geometry of this bike, or maybe the wide tire or something, but I think it's really really getting the lens wet. That's the e-bike motor kicking in. Just enjoying it, taking it easy today. Unfortunately, when it's like this, you can't really exercise in this kind of weather. When everything's just covered in snow. I mean, you can you can hike through the snow, I guess. I don't have any good hiking boots, though. I do have a nice bike, though. So we ride the bike. Woo! Yeah, so I haven't done a video on wheel spoke tension and building a wheel building and stuff. It was my first time building a wheel, and like I said, I just used Sheldon Brown's website, and they have a page on like wheel building or whatever, and I just read all that, and it worked out fine. So excellent guide. I suggest you check it out. Maybe I'll post a link at the bottom of the video. Which way should we go? Let's go, yeah, let's go there. Yeah, this is just like riding almost in the rain, but almost better because it's not very wet. You know, there's a little bit of snow flurries, but you know, it's not as bad as actually rain. It's not really, you know, my clothes are kind of soaking it up, but it's not as steady as a steady rain. Whew. There's somebody I've seen on my commute before to work multiple times that rides a fat bike, even when it's, you know, completely dry outside, and see him going up hills on that thing and everything, and it's like, wow. That's a good workout, huh? I mean, I think the wheels on a fat bike with the tires, I mean, they gotta weigh, you know, multiple pounds. I mean, they probably weigh like 5 pounds a wheel or something. Very heavy. Whew. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So I'm just riding around. Hope you enjoy this video. It's just a city cycling video. Not going to work yet. I will be going to work on Monday though. Road should be fine. We're gonna get, you know, we're getting like another few inches, 2 to 3 inches right now of snow over the course of the night here into Sunday. But I expect it to be pretty clear come Monday, so it's actually worked out perfectly because the snow started Friday night or Friday afternoon at work, and then we're going through the weekend with it, but it's all going to be probably pretty clear come Monday, because around where I live, after the snowstorm here, they had to shut down the freeway as there were people getting stuck on, there's like a certain section of the freeway in my county, it's like a steep hill, and cars were having trouble getting up the hill because it wasn't plowed enough, and then cars got stuck, and then the snow plows couldn't get to the hill, and there were people stuck on the highway for over 12 hours. And that was last night, right? Yeah, last night. So another advantage to living close to home is not having to trek too far to get back home from work. I feel safer on a bike too than in a car when it's really nasty weather. It's just the bike and a car really can only handle so much snow. Unless you got a jacked up truck or something, I don't know. 4-wheel drive or whatever. Oh, I'll let these cars go. Oh. Alright. I don't know exactly why there's people here, because there's not a lot of people in most places. I'm guessing it's because people are just going sledding. There's a hill around here, Art Hill, you know, the art museum. It's quite popular. A lot of people like to go sledding there. It's kind of funny though, because you got to put stacks of hay near the water at the bottom of the hill, because there's like a basin. And years ago, they didn't used to put hay stacks there, and actually you could go all the way down the hill and then just go all the way into the basin. You know, so it's actually quite dangerous. You could, if you had enough speed, you could go down the hill and then onto the frozen lake, essentially, which is, you know, quite dangerous going on a frozen body of water, especially if you don't know how thick the ice is. Because if the ice is pretty thin, it's gonna break, and you're gonna get cold and possibly hypothermia or whatever. So, gotta be careful. Right now I got my ears covered, my neck covered, but not my mouth or my nose. But like I said, it's not super cold right now. And I'm also not getting much of a workout. I'm just kind of pedaling along slowly here. I do have a motor. Why don't I use my e-bike motor? It would be easier. It's always a compromise with an e-bike, because it gives you that extra oomph to get up the hills. But then when you're on the flat, you know, it's not as peppy. It's a little more like a tank. But that's okay if you're just cruising. Haven't seen another bicyclist yet. Maybe we will see one. We'll wave. Yeah, this is just like riding a bike in the rain, pretty much. Which is good, it's not too hard. Yeah, the problem is ice, so as long as you don't hit any ice. Because like I said, I was thinking of getting some spike tires, studded tires. But they're expensive, and they will keep you safe in the ice, but I don't know. I'm not really... If I were to invest in some nice studded tires, I might try to get the biggest ones I could get. Just for maybe a little flotation on the snow, so I can run those lower air pressures. You mountain bikers know about that. I think I can fit upwards of maybe 50mm wide tires in here. In other words, I think close to 2-inch wide on this cyclocross bike, hybrid bike. Nice and quiet. Yeah, ever since I wiped out going quickly on 23mm wide tires on a wet, loose road surface, and I scarred up my arm from a road rash. I'm always a little hesitant taking the turns fast when it's slick out. You can get pretty screwed up. Fortunately, I was wearing a coat at the time, so if I didn't have anything protecting me from the ground when that happened, I could have really ripped up my arm. So I'm glad, I'm fortunate I was wearing a coat. But I was wearing a coat because it was cold and it was winter, you know, and it was slick outside. Just gotta take it slow, take it slow. Woo. But yeah, I was gonna say about compromising with e-bike. More speed's always nice, but battery power and battery range, how far you can go with an e-bike, is also important. What is it with these people? Why are there people sitting in their cars and just, I don't know. Oh, actually, I know what it is. What it probably is, it's probably that Pokemon Go game. People wanting to catch little digital monsters. Whew. Maybe there's like a snow dragon or something out here right now. I would have no idea because I don't play that game. Okay, so I think we're gonna keep going straight and maybe we'll just go up the hill here. But what I was saying about I keep getting sidetracked. E-bikes, I pedal so much with my bike that even if I had pedal assist, I'd probably turn it off. There's only some time when, like, maybe when I reach a hill, I'd like to hit the throttle, just give me a little boost. So I think the range on my battery for this bike is maybe upwards of 20 miles. But since I pedal so much, the range is probably more like 50 miles. Oh. Okay. Is that the car I passed earlier? I don't know. Which way to go? Let's go straight. Yeah, I think the range on this bike, like on the flat, it obviously depends on how much you weigh, how much cargo you're carrying, what sort of terrain you're going over. But I think it can go like 20 miles on a flat surface. It also depends on the wind, and it depends heavily on aerodynamics too. But if I were to just use this for the hills, I bet this thing could probably go. I could probably get this thing to work for me for at least 30, 40 miles, which I think is actually excessive. So that's why I wish there were more options for batteries, because I don't need such a big battery. I am the motor. I am the battery. Just feed me. I don't know if you can see anything. I don't know if you can see anything. The lens is probably messed up. BikeBlogger's happy. Because right now I'm not sick of the snow, but give it time, I'll get sick of the snow quickly enough here. I want the roads to be nice and dry and not slick again. Let's go up to the parking lot. So yeah, this wheel, like I said, I haven't done a video before on wheel building, but it actually isn't that hard as long as you have all the right stuff and you take your time. It took me, I spent probably a total of probably 6 to 8 hours building this wheel total. So I was working on it last night and then I was working on it today. But it was my first time doing it as well, and I want to make sure I did it right. But when I was tensioning the spokes, I don't know, I think I nailed it, but I was trying to follow, you know, what's common, you know, good practice, best practice for when you're tensioning up a wheel. And, you know, you gotta stress relieve the spokes. I figured that out before, but I think when you got a strong, heavy rim, oh, look at my breath. My breath. Okay, am I fogging up the lens? Sorry about that. I probably am. When you stress relieve, there's nobody up here. I'm just totally getting distracted now. When you're working with a more quality, I guess I'd say, or just heavy duty rim, and you got more spokes, and I don't know, maybe you got thicker gauge spokes. These are 13 gauge metal, round, straight, not double butted or anything, spokes. So they're very simple, and I don't know, maybe it's just easier to build up a wheel like that. Probably is, versus a quote-unquote high performance wheel that has less spokes and that has a really lightweight rim. Because I've just, you know, it's been pretty aggravating dealing with those kinds of wheels, but this is just a standard hybrid type of a bike wheel, and I don't know, I guess once you get experience, you know, messing around with spoke tension on one of those high performance type of wheels, or those, you know, mid-range expensive kind of wheels, it just makes working on these more entry-level wheels really easy. So, I don't know, but I think I nailed it. I mean, I was just tensioning it up and everything felt good, and then I know the range I need to be in, and didn't even use the spoke tension meter. I didn't need to. I just tensioned them up till they're pretty much, you know, really tight, you know, and then I checked it with the meter afterwards, but I was like, oh wow, this is perfect, this is fine. You know, I didn't have to really worry a whole lot about over tightening or under tightening or whatever, because I've done it enough times to know kind of what's right. And it's always usually just, you know, tight enough. One thing I did read though, because this was also off the Sheldon Brown website under Wheelbuilding with spoke tensioning, and one thing I never really did before, but believe it or not, I never did before, but when I tension spokes, you know, I'd tighten a spoke, but then after I was finishing tightening it, like turning it a quarter turn or whatever, you're supposed to back it off just a hair, just a little bit, so you can get a little bit of that spoke torsion, or whatever you want to call it, the twist out of the spoke. I don't know if that's absolutely necessary though, because I did use that Wheelsmith spoke prep lubricant sort of stuff on the threads, which I think helps with that. But like, you know, I do just grasp the spokes with my hands. That does kind of hurt after a while. I gotta get some gloves or something for that. But grasp the spokes and squeeze them real tight to get the pings out of them. But you know, I'm constantly learning. I've been doing this hardcore for 5 years or whatever, so I'm getting a good understanding of things. Really, I'm not an know-it-all expert. Some people think that, but I'm absolutely not. I just know enough to be dangerous. That's about it. If I don't need to know it, I don't know it. Like, I couldn't tell you how to bleed XYZ hydraulic mountain biking brake systems or whatever, because, you know, I just don't do it. I don't use that. I have been thinking about wanting to go back to disc brakes again, but after I I built this new wheel, the rim braking seems to be just perfectly fine. So, and if I did do disc brakes, they'd be mechanical. They wouldn't be hydraulic. So yeah, this has been partially a test ride to test my new wheel. Let's go this way. I'm not exactly sure what they've been doing over here, but they've been doing kind of construction. Shoot, let's go ahead and stop over here for a second. I want to make sure the lens is not super duper dirty. Oh my gosh, it is really foggy and messed up. I apologize if you can't see anything, but I just will delete the video and nobody will get to see it then. If the quality is not to my liking. Alright, so this has been pretty fun. What I want to do is get up on the trails, but I can see that nobody's plowed them. Usually they'll go around, or sometimes they'll go around with, well, this is nice, I don't even have to pedal. Sometimes I'll go around with, like not a bulldozer, but some sort of construction equipment or tractor or something, and they'll actually plow the multi-use trail, and so that's nice, but haven't done it yet. I don't know when they'll ever get around to it. But this is good knowledge for me, so I know what to expect tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, so there's probably not going to be any workers out here. So it'll probably just be about the same as it is tonight. Match our car. I've tested my wheel and I'm very satisfied with it so far. We'll see how well the spoke tension holds up. I expected to go a little loose because I probably didn't do it 100% accurate when I tensioned it the first time. But it was really interesting learning how to lace a wheel. I got a double cross pattern on this wheel. So yeah, would I build another wheel? Probably not. It's always cheaper to just buy a wheel, preferably hand built by another human being who knows what they're doing. It's just cheaper, and I only did it here because I wanted to reuse my motor on my front wheel here, the e-bike motor. So I wanted to lace that hub, which is the motor built into the hub, onto another wheel that matches my back wheel. So now I got two wheels that actually match. And another annoying thing is that the wheel had a Schrader valve, you know, one of those car valves, not a Presta French valve, typical on modern bikes. So now I have the same kind of valve on both my front and rear wheel. So I'm happy about that. So, I don't know, I guess I'll end the video here. Thanks for coming along with me on this bike ride through the park at night. And testing out my new front wheel. Happy, happy, happy! Oh, it's wet outside. See you next time.